When the crash happened, it was in the middle of the night over the empty deserts of Nevada. The sky was suddenly bright, almost like a second sun had appeared, then quickly went dark again. Daniel Hale, a retired mechanic living alone in a small cabin near the canyon, noticed the unusual glow. He was used to meteors streaking across the desert sky, but this was different. The light lingered longer, and a faint hum seemed to vibrate through the air. Something told him he should investigate. He jumped into his old pickup truck and drove toward the smoke that rose on the horizon. The sand crunched under the tires, and the headlights barely cut through the darkness. After an hour of rough driving, he reached the crash site. At first, he thought it was a meteor, but as he approached, he saw smooth metal and faint blue lights. The craft was small, half buried in sand, and it hummed with energy unlike anything he had ever seen on Earth. Daniel approached cautiously. The hatch of the ship was slightly open, and from inside came a soft, broken cry. It was human-like, but faintly different, a sound that made Daniel's heart tighten. He pulled the hatch open and saw a small pod, half melted from the crash. Inside the pod was a baby, not completely human. Her skin shimmered lightly silver, and her hair fell in white, silky strands. Her eyes blinked slowly, but when she reached her tiny hands toward him, it was unmistakably human in its appeal. Without thinking, Daniel wrapped her in his jacket and carried her to the truck. Behind him, the ship sputtered and glowed briefly, then went completely dark. He didn't know it yet, but this child would change his life and perhaps the world forever. Daniel named her Lyra, after a constellation he had once tried to locate on clear nights. Doctors were puzzled by her biology. Her blood contained elements not found on Earth, her growth rate was unusual, and her physical abilities were stronger than human children her age. Government agents visited after detecting strange energy readings near the crash site, but Daniel always said he had seen nothing. He hid Lyra from the world, raising her alone in his small cabin among the red hills and sand dunes. As Lyra grew, her differences became more apparent. By age 5, she could read complicated texts meant for teenagers. By 7, she could lift heavy machinery with ease, and her eyes sometimes glowed faintly in the dark. Machines around her seemed to react, flickering or starting unexpectedly as if recognizing her touch. Despite all this, Daniel always reminded himself that she was just a child, a little girl who needed love and care. Every night she would ask him, "Dad, am I really human?" He would smile, brushing a strand of hair from her face, and say, "You're mine." That's what matters. By 16, Lyra's alien traits became harder to hide. Her skin shimmered under sunlight, her eyes changed color with her emotions, and her dreams grew vivid. She dreamt of tall crystal cities floating above clouds, oceans that glimmered in strange colors, and voices calling her name in languages she did not understand. Daniel worried, knowing that the world outside would never accept her if they discovered her origins. But he never showed his fear to her. One night the sky changed. Stars shifted and glowed in patterns that Lyra recognized from her dreams. A deep hum vibrated through the desert, low and steady, as though the earth itself was speaking. Daniel ran outside, shotgun in hand, and saw a ship descending silently. It landed in the sand without disturbing a single grain, sleek and silver, alive with energy. Lyra followed him, trembling. "Dad, they found me," she whispered. The ship's ramp unfolded and golden light poured down. From the glow emerged tall figures with luminous armor, moving gracefully, almost regally. At the center was a woman whose presence made the air feel heavier. Her eyes were silver blue, the same as Lyra's, and her voice carried sadness and authority. "Human," she said softly, her gaze fixed on Daniel. "You have something that belongs to me." Daniel tightened his grip on the shotgun. "She's my daughter," he said firmly. The alien woman's expression softened slightly. "You have raised her well. I sensed her heartbeat across the stars. She survived because of you, but she is not yours to keep. She is of my blood." Lyra froze. Her mind spun with confusion. Every memory of birthdays, laughter, bedtime stories, all of it seemed fragile, as if it could shatter at the wrong word. Daniel shook his head. "She's human where it matters. She's brave, kind, stubborn. That's what makes her more than blood. That's love." The woman studied him. "You do not understand. She carries the code of a royal lineage. She must return before war consumes our world," Lyra whispered. "Princess? Yes, the woman said. She is my daughter, born to rule the sky cities of Valanthra. But the human way has touched her. You taught her their language, their ways. You shaped her. Daniel lowered the shotgun slowly. Then why send her here to crash in the desert? Because our world was burning, the alien replied, her voice shaking. We sent our children away to survive. I did not know she had lived until her call reached me. Lyra stepped forward. I don't know your world. I only know his. I can't just leave him. The alien woman looked at her thoughtfully. The blood of two worlds runs in you, child. You carry power I cannot command, but others will come and they will not be kind. She extended her hand, glowing softly. Come with me before they arrive. Daniel's voice was rough. She chooses. She decides. The woman nodded. Very well, but no human. Choices echo across worlds. She turned toward the ship. We will return when she decides her path. The ship rose silently, a streak of golden light vanishing into the stars. The desert returned to quiet. Lyra and Daniel stood alone, hearts racing, not speaking. Dead. What if she's right? Lyra whispered. What if I don't belong here? Daniel placed a steady hand on her shoulder. Belonging isn't about where you come from. It's about where you are loved. You've got a home here as long as you want it. Lyra looked up at the stars where the ship had disappeared. Part of her felt drawn to the unknown, to the world of her birth. But another, stronger part, stayed rooted to the man who had carried her from fire, taught her and loved her unconditionally. She did not know it yet, but her choice would soon come. Others were coming, beings who saw her not as a child, not as a daughter, but as a weapon. And when they arrived, the galaxy would learn how far a human father would go to protect the girl he raised. The desert was quiet for a few days after the alien ship vanished, but Daniel knew the calm would not last. He and Lyra had returned to their routine. She helped him with repairs around the cabin, and he taught her about engines, wires, and old machines. But the dreams continued. Lyra would wake in the middle of the night, eyes wide, recalling crystal cities floating among the stars, voices calling her name, and flashes of energy she could not understand. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the desert red and gold, a humming sound filled the air. It was different this time, lower, more deliberate, like something alive breathing in rhythm with the planet. Daniel felt it in his chest before he heard it. Dad, I think they're coming back, Lyra said softly, her silver-tinged hair glowing faintly in the fading light. Before Daniel could answer, shadows stretched across the sand. A fleet of ships descended, far larger than the first. Sleek, silver, and buzzing with energy, they formed a circle around the cabin. The engines hummed in unison, a low vibration that made the ground beneath their feet tremble. Daniel grabbed his shotgun, though he knew it was useless against beings capable of interstellar travel. Lyra placed a hand on his arm. We can't fight them, Dad, but we can try to hide. The ships landed without a sound. Figures stepped out, tall, armored, and elegant, moving with precision. They carried weapons that glowed faintly, pulsing with power. At their center was the same woman who had come for Lyra before, but this time, her expression was harder, sharper, less forgiving. Lyra, she said, her voice calm but commanding, you must come with us. Others will arrive and they will not hesitate to take you by force if necessary. Lyra shook her head. I can't, I belong here. He's my father. Daniel stepped forward, placing himself between Lyra and the alien woman. She's not going anywhere with you. Not unless she wants to. The woman's eyes narrowed slightly, not with anger but with understanding. You do not comprehend what is at stake. Wars have begun in my world. My enemies will kill any who oppose them. Lyra's life is at risk if she remains. Lyra looked at Daniel, torn between two worlds. One was the life she had known, filled with love and laughter, pancakes and bedtime stories, the desert wind brushing her face. The other was her birthright, a world of power, responsibility, and danger she could barely understand. The alien woman extended a hand. Energy pulsed from her fingers, painting the desert in soft blue light. I do not wish to take her by force. I wish only to protect her, but you leave me no choice if you refuse. Daniel tightened his grip on his shotgun, though it was more for comfort than defense. I won't let you hurt her. The woman studied him, a faint trace of admiration in her eyes. You are human. Your courage is strange to me, yet impressive. But bravery alone will not protect her from what is coming. Before Daniel could respond, one of the alien guards moved forward. His weapon glowed, and a pulse of energy shot toward the cabin. Daniel dove to shield Lyra, pulling her behind him. Sparks and sand flew, and the energy dissipated harmlessly against the cabin walls. The first strike had been a warning. Lyra's hands glowed faintly as instinct took over. She extended them toward the energy pulse, and it bent around her, harmlessly dissipating into the air. Her eyes flashed silver, then blue, then green as the power within her awakened. Daniel stared, awe and fear mixing in equal measure. You're controlling it, he whispered. I'm protecting us, she said, voice trembling but steady. The glow around her hands grew brighter, and the remaining energy pulses from the alien guards deflected automatically. The alien woman raised a hand. Stop. She does not understand her power yet. Let her learn before you strike further. The other guards hesitated, and Daniel felt a small surge of hope. Lyra's power was formidable, but she had no training, no understanding of the forces within her. She had survived on instinct alone. Dad, Lyra whispered, I don't know if I can do this. Daniel took her hand in his, holding it tightly. You're not alone. I'm with you always. The alien woman studied them both. You are bonded in a way unusual for your species, human. She has learned more than I anticipated. Perhaps you can teach her control before the real danger arrives. Daniel blinked. Teach her control? Me? Yes, the woman said softly, her expression unreadable. There is no time to waste. Forces from my world are coming. Some will want to claim her for power, others for revenge. You have kept her alive, human. Now you must prepare her to survive. Lyra took a deep breath. She had spent her whole life learning from Daniel. About machines, about people, about small acts of kindness that carried great meaning. Now she realized those lessons were part of her strength. Her humanity gave her courage that no alien training could provide. Daniel led her back into the cabin. We'll start slow. I'll teach you everything I can. Your power. We'll figure it out together. Lyra nodded, determination replacing fear. I want to protect our home. And you? The alien woman watched quietly from a distance. Perhaps I misjudged humans. Their strength is not in weapons or technology alone. It is in their hearts. She may survive because of this. Night fell over the desert and the alien fleet remained in orbit above. Daniel worked with Lyra, showing her how to channel her energy, control her strength, and focus on her instincts. She learned quickly, moving objects with precision, deflecting small pulses of energy, and even enhancing her senses to detect movement in the dark. Every lesson strengthened her. But Daniel noticed something else. With every victory, Lyra's confidence grew. She was no longer just a frightened girl caught between two worlds. She was a protector, a fighter, and in her own way, a human hero. Days passed. Lyra's mother returned, observing from a distance, offering guidance without interfering. She will need discipline, the woman said once. But your bond will give her something rare. Choices. She will decide who she truly is. Daniel nodded, understanding that the moment of choice would come sooner than he hoped. I'll make sure she knows what she's fighting for. That's all a father can do, and then the attacks began. Ships from unknown forces appeared on the horizon. They were faster, more aggressive, and clearly aware of Lyra's presence. Their weapons fired indiscriminately, targeting anything that moved. Daniel and Lyra took cover behind rocks, sand flying around them. Stay calm, Daniel shouted. Use your training. Focus. Lyra closed her eyes, recalling every lesson, every act of guidance he had given her. Her hands glowed, and when she opened her eyes, a barrier of light expanded around them, deflecting the incoming energy. The attackers roared, confused, and Daniel realized that the desert had become a battlefield, a place where human courage and alien power would collide. The alien mother descended, her figure glowing, and moved among the attackers. She fought with precision, her power refined and controlled. But it was clear she would not take Lyra. Her role was guidance, not possession. Through the chaos, Lyra's eyes met Daniel's. He nodded, a silent message of trust and love. She raised her hands, directing her energy with focus she had never imagined possible. The attackers were repelled, retreating in confusion and fear. The desert was silent once more, save for the hum of distant alien ships. Daniel pulled Lyra close. You did it. You protected our home. Lyra's chest heaved with exhaustion, but her eyes sparkled. We did it, together. The alien woman approached, her expression unreadable. She has survived, and she has learned well, but the battles ahead will be harder. Your bond has given her strength, human. She will need it. Daniel looked at her, then at Lyra. No matter what comes, we'll face it. Together. Lyra smiled faintly, her hands still glowing softly. I'm ready, Dad. Let them come. And in that moment, the desert was no longer just a quiet place for a human and his daughter. It had become a proving ground. Lyra had begun to embrace both her human heart and her alien blood, preparing for the challenges that would inevitably follow. Forces from across galaxies would soon learn that a human father and the girl he raised were not to be underestimated. The desert sun rose slowly, painting the sand in gold and red. Daniel and Lyra had spent the night preparing, repairing defenses, and practicing her control over her energy. Lyra moved with more confidence now. The glow from her hands had become steadier, her movements precise as though her human instincts and alien power were merging. But both of them knew the real challenge was still ahead. Far above the desert, ships from Valanthra's enemies emerged. They had come for Lyra, aware of her power and her potential. Their fleet moved like shadows across the sky, faster and more numerous than the ones they had faced before. Daniel watched from the canyon's edge, heart pounding. He had no weapons capable of hurting these beings directly. His only strength was in strategy, quick thinking, and protecting Lyra. Dad, they're coming, Lyra said quietly, but with determination. She had learned to read the energy patterns of the approaching ships, her alien senses alert to every movement. Daniel nodded. We fight smart, not strong. Follow my lead. The first wave of attackers descended, shooting beams of energy that turned the desert sand into glowing craters. Lyra's hands glowed as she raised a shield of light around them. Daniel used the rocks and the terrain to guide her, directing her energy to repel the beams and protect their small home. Every time an enemy approached too closely, Lyra extended her arms, pushing them back with bursts of power that made the attackers stumble and retreat. They fought tirelessly. Lyra's alien heritage gave her incredible abilities, but Daniel's human ingenuity gave them both an edge. He rigged old machinery to amplify her energy bursts, turning scrap metal into temporary barricades and weapons. Lyra moved among them like a storm of light, energy flowing from her fingertips, deflecting attacks and striking back with precision. The alien woman appeared again, descending from above. She moved among the attackers, neutralizing some while letting others pass. She had not come to take Lyra by force, but her presence stabilized the battlefield, guiding the girl without interfering completely. Daniel realized she was testing them, seeing if their bond was strong enough to survive the ultimate trial. Hours passed. The attacks grew fiercer, the sky dark with the shadow of alien ships. Lyra's energy flickered from fatigue, but Daniel refused to let fear break him. Keep going, Lyra. Focus on what you've learned. Use your heart, not just your strength. She gritted her teeth, channeling her power more carefully. Memories of her life with Daniel, birthday mornings, pancake breakfasts, laughter echoing in the cabin, fueled her resolve. She realized her humanity gave her courage that no alien training could provide. She was not just a weapon or a princess. She was someone who could choose, who could fight, and who could protect the people she loved. A massive ship descended behind the attackers. Its size dwarfed everything around it. A voice deep and commanding echoed through the desert. Hand over the girl, or face annihilation. Daniel stepped in front of Lyra. Over my dead body, he shouted, shotgun in hand, though it was useless against them. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. Dad, we can do this. Together. The alien mother approached slowly, her glowing armor illuminating the desert. She moved between the attackers and Lyra, her calm presence commanding attention. They will not understand reason, she said. Your choices have brought you here, human. Your bond is rare, but it will be tested. The attackers opened fire. Lyra's shield flared, sending beams of energy flying outward. Rocks and sand exploded around them, but they held their ground. Daniel directed her to focus on the weak points in the attackers' formations. Lyra extended her hands, bending the energy beams, redirecting them toward the enemy ships. One by one, the ships faltered and retreated, unable to withstand the combined force of human cunning and alien power. Even as the battle raged, Lyra felt a pull in her mind. Her alien instincts called her toward the mother who had given her life, a world of responsibility and power waiting beyond the stars. But she also felt the warmth of Daniel's love, the lessons of humanity that had shaped her courage and heart. The choice was clear in a way she had never understood before. She had to embrace both without losing either. With a deep breath, Lyra focused her power. A wave of energy radiated from her, brighter and more controlled than ever. The remaining attackers froze, unable to resist the surge. She felt her own strength grow, not from alien blood alone, but from the human spirit that Daniel had nurtured in her. The attackers retreated entirely, leaving the desert silent once more. Daniel pulled her close, both of them breathing heavily. "You did it," he whispered. "No," Lyra said softly, eyes glowing faintly. "We did it together." The alien mother approached. Her expression softened, admiration shining through. "She has survived. And she has learned well. The bond between human and child is stronger than I anticipated. She is ready to make her choice." Lyra looked at Daniel. "I can go with her, but I won't forget everything you taught me. I won't forget our life here. I'll carry it with me always." Daniel nodded, holding her hands tightly. "I know, kid. No matter what, you're my daughter. That doesn't change." The alien mother extended her hand. "Lyra, the time has come. You must decide where your path leads. Your people need you. Your father loves you. Both worlds can be yours if you choose wisely." Lyra took a deep breath, feeling the energy within her pulse in rhythm with her heart. She looked at the desert, at Daniel, at the sky above where her birthright awaited. Then she made her choice, not as a princess of an alien empire, but as a human and a daughter, someone who had been raised to value love, courage, and loyalty. "I will go with you," she said, "but I will carry my home with me. I will protect both worlds, but I will never forget where I came from or who I am. I'm both human and Velanthran. I am both his daughter and hers, and I will fight for both." The alien mother smiled, a mix of relief and pride. "You have chosen wisely. Few can embrace two worlds and remain whole. You have the heart of humanity and the strength of my people. Together you will be unstoppable." Daniel's eyes brimmed with tears. He nodded, letting her go without fear, knowing she was ready for what lay ahead. "Just promise me you'll come back to visit," he said quietly. "I will," Lyra promised, hugging him tightly. "I love you, Dad." The mother and daughter ascended to the ship. Lyra glanced back at Daniel one last time, her human heart full of love, courage, and determination. She understood now that her choice was not about abandoning her father or her home. It was about embracing her identity fully, using her strength to protect all that she loved. As the ship lifted into the sky, the desert quieted again. Daniel watched until it disappeared among the stars, feeling a mixture of pride, sadness, and hope. His daughter was gone from his sight, but not from his heart. She carried his lessons, his courage, and his love into the galaxy. Weeks later, news arrived of Lyra's deeds. Entire fleets had faltered before her, but she had not destroyed them. She had protected planets, negotiated peace, and saved lives without seeking glory. Humanity watched from afar, astonished at the courage and wisdom of one girl, one human-raised girl who now carried the legacy of an alien empire. Daniel lived quietly in the desert, repairing machines and maintaining their home. He often looked up at the stars, imagining her there, fighting battles and making choices with the heart he had nurtured. And though the distance was great, he felt her presence, as if the bond between father and daughter transcended planets and light years. The galaxy had learned a simple truth. A human heart, guided by love and courage, could shape destiny in ways no alien technology or royal bloodline could predict. Lyra had been raised by a human, but she had chosen her path. And in doing so, she had shown that humanity's strength, its resilience, compassion, and courage was a force no one could ignore. Daniel smiled, knowing he had played his part. He had raised a girl who could stand against the universe itself. And though she belonged to the stars now, she would always be his daughter.